Pretty people humor. What the fuck is that? If you've had the privilege to not have stumbled across this discussion on TikTok, congrats babes, you're in the majority. Are you ready to go on the most chronically online roller coaster you've ever heard of in your entire life? Are you addicted to TikTok? Then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to break down the trend and takedown of the concept pretty people humor and how that relates to the you need to nerd out trend so you can stop wanting to smash your head with the hammer every time you hear that sound. So before we even get into the meat of the trend, I'm going to do something that's probably going to piss a lot of you off. I'm going to explain to you all what a nerd is because a lot of you actually do not get it. So according to the Google Dictionary, a nerd is defined as a person who is extremely enthusiastic and knowledgeable about a particular subject, especially one of specialist or niche interest. So stereotypically throughout history and the birth of the word, it would refer to the guy at school with the glasses and suspenders who wouldn't shut up about physics in the hallway and does Sudoku for a wild night. And hey, no hate to the Sudoku lovers out there. I like Sudoku too. If you've been here long enough, you would know that I love using pieces of paper for dramatic effect. So today, I went outside and I decided to purchase a whiteboard just for you guys because today I'm going to be doing something really chronically online, and that is going to be informing you all on this Reddit style Venn diagram of geeks, nerds, and dorks. Now that you all have seen the most chronically online diagram you've probably ever seen in your fucking life, I'm here to explain it all to you and break that shit down. I sincerely apologize for the lighting adjustment. I just feel like it's better to have it without the ring light. I think what we're gonna do here is work our way from here to here. Right here. In this oopsie. In the three outer sectors we have intelligence, social ineptitude, and obsession. What is the one thing that overlaps between all three of these? The answer? Nerd. Now, here's where people kind of fuck up. See, a nerd has to have all three of these things, right? Tell me in what way how that would apply to somebody loving Taco Bell in the way that they post it online. Somebody could be a nerd about Taco Bell, but that would have to be a lot deeper because we have to have the intelligence about it. Tell me, what are you intelligent about for Taco Bell? Is it where they are in the stock market? Are you intelligent about manufacturing element? Social ineptitude. I know none of you bitches posting Lululemon are fucking socially inept, okay? So yeah, you have to be socially inept to be a nerd. It's just like how it is. It's just how the cookie fucking crumbles. And then obsession. They do fuck with crumble and they do love it. They are obsessed with it. But if you're just obsessed and maybe know a lot about it, what does that make you? Makes you a geek and not a nerd. Or maybe you are socially inept and you do know a lot about crumble. Then you're just a dweeb. Or maybe, let's say, you're obsessed with crumble even, but you're not that smart, but you are socially inept. Dork. Basically, a nerd is the powerhouse of all three elements combined. Air, water, fire, nerd. We're pretending the other ones don't exist, okay? But that is what makes up a nerd, and that is so important. So stay with me. With all of this context, how exactly does it relate to pretty people humor? Knowing all of what we just learned together, we can understand that a lot of the things that people are claiming to nerd out are essentially just overconsumption and late stage capitalism. Target, tanning oil, Lululemon, those are not things to nerd out. And I'm sorry if this video makes me look like the pretentious prick I am, but it really is just the truth in my gospel. And I think we all need to accept that, so we can become more interesting and well-rounded as a collective, not a crumble cookie hive mind. And I think this honestly has to do a lot with the turn of the century during Y2K, and the fact that after that point, technology literally took over everybody's lives until one day it just became a personality to hit your geek bar and scroll on Reels for 10 hours. WTF. So now we have this sort of divide between, and I'm going to sound like a middle schooler right now, so bear with me, the pretties and the uglies. In this context, I'm specifically referring to people who grew up conventionally attractive and those who had to blossom into themselves, like me. First rule of being ugly: never make a mistake. And God forbid, you're cringe. Middle school is where you usually start to see the split. Kids who are deemed attractive, they were, they were put right here on this pedestal. Meanwhile, this was the rest of us. And they were rewarded for any sort of behavior that reinforced conformity. These kids, back in my day, they wore Hollister hoodies, and they spread nudes like it was their fucking startup side hustle of the century. And for the rest of us who were maybe a little quirky, were obviously labeled various ways, all of which were deemed as unacceptable. And I'm gonna put it to you straight. When they think you're ugly, they think you're weird too. And maybe it was because you had missed some social cues or had a lot of acne. But either way, it most likely caused you to bond with one other fellow weirdo. And thus began this feedback loop of dividing those by conventional attractiveness and led to this eventual split off of humor. Pretty people humor isn't typically layered or nuanced or very well thought out. It's a lot of face value stuff, which more power to you if that's your cup of tea. But intellectually, it's lazy because these people never had to struggle how to fit in. For the people who were here on the ugly side, a lot of the time it was by attempting to be funny, to be like the little court jester. And this whole thing actually reminds me so much of the like alt versus straight TikTok thing, because honestly it's all the same when you look at the parallels. With all of this, then how are these two subjects connected? I'm so glad you asked. And that is because take a look at all these slides. What do they all have in common? These interests are very palatable, as well as trend and consumption orientated. And like I was saying before, these are not personality traits. To enjoy conforming to whatever is popular at the moment, as well as having them just be majority brands. So the point that I'm really trying to drive home here is that this relates back to how the OG pretty people were rewarded for conformity, and therefore probably didn't have to develop as much in their own world as those who relied on being interesting or funny or special. So now when those people partake in this trend, it reads as apparent who grew up ugly versus who grew up pretty, which hits quite a nerve for the former uglies. Because why the fuck are you saying that liking all these brand logos makes you a fucking nerd? Because if we refer back to the nerd dork geek diagram, we now know that just because you enjoy something, that does not make you a nerd. So now we can cross that out. I do think though that a lot of people are taking it a lot more personally than they should. And hey, I'm saying this as somebody who's right here on this side, okay? I did not grow up in the conventionally attractive side. So I get where that pain comes from. Because it's like, if I had to build my entire personality because it was the only thing people maybe would value about me, why are there people coasting by with none? So now that I've successfully made everybody on all sides of the charts infuriated, I think it's time to test here who actually has pretty versus ugly humor. And I've concocted this test, so yes, I am the judge. These will be the most important 7 questions of your life, so buckle up. Number 1. Were you on alt or straight TikTok? Number 2. Do you have a creative outlet that does not include something athletic? Number 3. When you want to see someone in concert, how difficult must you fight in the Ticketmaster queue? Number 4. Do you care about your style being timeless? Number 5. Have you ever done a psychedelic? 6. Do you prefer to buy your clothes second or first hand? 7. Are you under 4 or over 5? Now you know whether or not to hit subscribe. That was a really weird video for me to make, but I had the time of my life. And also a really good excuse to buy this whiteboard that I've high-key been wanting for months. That makes me feel like Rue from Euphoria when she's in her manic detective state. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed or hated the video, make sure to give it a big, fat, wet, sloppy thumbs up. And subscribe to never miss the space rant about something that you probably could have died without hearing, but now you can never unhear it.